Hello, everyone. This is Dr. David Maldonado here of Christ Institute of Theology, together with faculty and colleagues Dr. Pam Stanley, Dr. Brandon McCray, and Dr. Alfred Johnson. We are here to talk to you about a phenomenal opportunity that is coming. It's just around the corner on March 23rd, and that is none other than a one-day intensive on urban faith crisis leadership. So, Dr. Johnson, why don't you tell us why people should be engaged in this conversation in the first place?
Well, we want to train leaders for the future. And according to our biblical reference, and I believe it's Ray Baki who makes the statement that creation starts in a garden, but it ends up in the holy city, Jerusalem, in a city. And we want to be prepared for the future, and we want to prepare persons to be effective for the city that's coming. Right now in this country, over 50% of the population lives in cities, and it is projected by the World Organization for Population on the United Nations that by 2030, 2050, more than 70% of the world population will be living in urban environments. And we want to be ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. B, this is a phenomenal opportunity for anyone to get in on, and I'm sure you've got questions yourself about what's going to happen on this great day.
Listen, this is an absolutely amazing conversation for any, and all persons in ministry, whether it be leadership or laity. What's amazing about our conversation here today is we have scholars across the length and breadth of this conversation. Dr. Pam Stanley, you're with us. What's the connection between leaders, administration, and urban faith? What's that? Make the connection for us.
Absolutely. And thank you all so much. So there are some unique challenges that leaders in an urban environment, especially as it relates to church administration, face. And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation because church administrators have been left out of the conversation for so long. And now we're merging all of that together. What are some of the unique things? I'm an urban child myself, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. There is a huge cultural diversity that happens in an urban environment. And leaders need to really understand those cultural backgrounds, languages, traditions, and how is that going to work in the church and how do they minister to those folks? And because of that, we have to learn how to engage all of those folks together. It's not everybody the same. We have to learn how to engage all of them together. And to be able to do that, we have to be adaptive. We have to be able to project the spirit of Christ. All of that. We have to be resilient because all of these different diversities bring different challenges. And on top of all of that, then we have to be a really good manager and a steward of all the resources that God has put into our hands.
Absolutely. I agree with you. You know, when I'm thinking about all of those things you're describing, it makes it, for me at least as a leader, I'm interested in more people to be engaged in this kind of program because I don't think we have enough training. I don't think we can ever get enough training because there's always going to be crisis in urban settings, and the church is there to provide solutions. If someone comes and along right now and watches this video and says, I wonder if I should be a part of that one-day intensive CIT is offering, what would you tell them about the outcomes they would get? I mean, you mentioned some of the things we're going to talk about. What outcomes could they expect as a result of being a participant in this?
So I would say, I guess that question is for me or Dr. J?
Sure, go ahead.
So I would certainly be looking for, we call this a laboratory. And we are leaders amongst leaders. We're peers in this environment. And certainly we're going to be having some really deep conversations about how to manage transition. We're going to be talking about adaptive leadership. We're going to be talking about situational leadership. We'll be we want the students to walk away with not just information. We want them to walk away with the plan. How do I manage a crisis? How do I create situations in the church where we're not only managing transitions, but we're doing it in a faith environment? So this isn't a business. We're not trying to make money. This isn't a profit, but we're trying to do it in a way that people can come out of it and be resilient and still be standing on their feet. And so we're looking to have those kinds of conversations. And how do we do it in this urban environment that we've all found ourselves in?
Wonderful.
Listen, if we're going to close the conversation at any space, Dr. Johnson, I think we should close it in this moment that we've got in time. I think we should close it here. If you're a local pastor in a local parish or a local leader of a local church, what would you say, Dr. Johnson, is the role of the pastor or the urban pastor within the greater context of the community? What would you say as a closing measure would be, again, the role of the urban pastor in his or her local community?
Mhm. There was a time we said that we should think globally and act locally. And there's even an expression now that's called glocalization, a recognition that you cannot just micromanage and be myopic in your ministry and be effective. You got to be thinking about a larger system all the time. And the fact that urbanization is happening across the world right now in a mighty big way, there are things that are going on amidst us. One of the big things, one example of it, and we will be covering it, is the whole phenomenon of gentrification that's going on right now, where people wake up one day and they're on another street the next day, and life moves very quickly. The Western interpretation of the word crisis is a translation of a Chinese character being danger and opportunity at the same time.
Wow.
Danger and opportunity. And I'll close by saying this. If you're in a neighborhood and you're a pastor and your church is in a neighborhood that's changing or maybe in crisis, as a leader, you should know the statement is you're either going to be at the table or you will be on the menu. The question is, as an effective pastor in an urban environment, where will you stand and where will you sit?
Wow. Well, that's a lot to think about right there. This is a wonderful opportunity. Thank you all for sharing insights and thoughts and just giving some information about what's to come. This is an awesome opportunity for anyone and everyone, particularly urban faith leaders, to come and receive training and be a part of a conversation, a discussion, a course that's designed during a 4-hour period on a Saturday morning, March 23rd. It's online. It's 4 hours of deep, involved conversation. And we want you to take full advantage of this. You can audit the class or you can pay for the 1-credit course. All of that information you will find at ChristInstituteOfTheology.org. So please register for that March 23rd one-day intensive Urban Faith Crisis Leadership. Again, thank you all for being with us. Thank you, Dr. Pam, Dr. Johnson, Dr. B. I appreciate you all. I'm so looking forward to our one day together. And everyone, please take a moment, check it out, register, and share it with someone else. God bless you. We hope to see you soon.